you can use Google Slides to facilitate a classroom discussion, right? So this is the title. And the first thing I've done here is post a discussion question. And the question is, what is the meaning that the author of this political cartoon is trying to get across? So I've posted a political cartoon here. It's nice and big. It's very visual. Here's your question, and I put here this little. It looks like a little speech bubble, and that's just to let the students know this is like a little anchor, as we'll get to, because these things are links later on. So here's your discussion question. Here are just some other types of ways you might write out a discussion question. Here I've inserted a video of the poem The Raven, and when you press play, all the poem will play, and it has some nice visuals, and I ask some questions here about the Raven. Here's a discussion on a math question. It says that please explain the steps that you would use to solve the problem above. So I give you a math equation, and the students can explain the steps themselves. They can also if you get the tool here, one of the tools, you can have them get like a math type, it's called. It's an extension. It would help them write equations and things like that. So okay, so you're given a discussion question, and now what I have here, it's called students of the classroom. So here's another slide, and I've written all the students' names here, and all their names are linked. So if I click on their names, it'll take me right to that slide. So this says Anthony B. I'm going to click this here, and it takes me right to his slide. For example, I'll click on Leonard, and let's say I want to see how he responded to the question. It'll take me right to his slide, and etc. and so forth. And on each of these student responses here, okay, if you look at the top, there are also these little icons, and I have them as quick links as well. So this little icon here with the little smiley face, if you click on that, it'll take you back to the students page. And take a look. I have that little icon up here just to sort of identify it. So as a teacher, maybe I start here with a discussion question. I present this to the class, and then you let them fill in their answer. You go here to the students of the classroom page, and then you can just click on a student. I'll click on, let's say, Stephanie. Click here, and there it goes right to Stephanie's response. And then after I read her response, maybe I want to go back to the students page. I'll click here, and then it'll take me right back here again, and I can click on another response. I could click on, let's say, Joey. And here's Joey's response. And also, if you take a look at the right here, students are able to comment on one another's work. So here is here's a student here. I'd use myself, but it could be a student. And what they've done is they've highlighted a piece of text, and they said, well, who is the member? So students can comment on each other's back and forth. So I can click here, and then maybe the student can respond back. Who is the member? The member is one of Tweed's council. No, one of Tweed's cabinet. And then hit reply. So students are able to go back and forth, on each other and answer questions here. As a teacher, you can highlight something that a student said. New York City Board of Supervisors, I'm highlighting this here, and if I want to comment on that section, I would just go right up here where it says Open Comment History, and then I can go to plus to add comment. Also, this is called the comment bank, so I can scroll down and you can see all comments that have gone on. So I can add a comment here. I go, when did this occur? I should have a question mark there. And so that's a comment there. If you continue to, look like here's a comment that let's just say a student said, hey, this is an excellent response. His voters were loyal. And then again, you as a teacher, you can maybe respond here as well. You could say something like excellent point. Reply. So there's commenting within that. If you take a look, let's go here to this response. If you look down here, this is called the speaker notes. So this is a great place just to add notes. Okay, You could have students commenting back and forth here. They could just add little suggestions and just add more notes. I mean, it goes on and on and on. It can continue to go down. So these are speaker notes. If if you think there's not enough room, just want to get some more ideas out there. Now, all the way at the bottom here, this is called a class summary. So as a teacher, if you're using this to facilitate online discussion, maybe let's say maybe you click on Alex here, and you go to his response, and you like something he said, and you're like, okay, I like this part. You could just highlight over that, go to Control C to copy, and that last page, that summary page right here, is also linked. You'll see it looks like a little piece of paper here. I'm going to click on that. It'll take me right down to the class summary page, and you can add something that he wrote as part of the class summary. Let me show you now how I created these links. So I have the name here, Joseph H, right? So let's say you get a new student in the class. We'll go to the last one. So here's the last student, Joe. So let's say I get a new student. I'm going to copy this slide. So I'm going to go to duplicate, and I choose to copy it because I want to copy these as well. Okay, I want, because these are little links as well. So I'm going to copy this page. Let's say my new student's name is Natalie. Natalie A. And this is they write something. Hello, I am new, but I know Tweed was corrupt. And this is her response. So I've just created a new slide for Natalie, right? And now I want to link her name here with the students of the classroom. Well, I'm going to go on one of my text boxes, and I'm just going to write in her name. We said it was Natalie. Natalie A. And if I want to link this, I'm just going to grab this little highlighter, and I'm just going to highlight her name. And very important, I'm going to go here to Insert, and then I'm going to go to Link, and then I can link to a slide here. So I'm going to go to Slides in the presentation, and I'm going to scroll down all the way to, I believe, right here. And then, so now it's linked to her slide. And very cool, you'll notice like slide 22, it has, because her name is in the title, it's easy to spot. So you could just see her name because it's right up there. That's why I choose to put the names at the top. So I'm going to go to Apply. And now look, I'm going to click this right here. I'm going to go, and boom, it takes me right to her slide. And if you want to know how I did these things again, right, this takes me right to the discussion icon. If you want to know how I did that, let's go to we'll go to the Joey slide. All I did was add a shape. So we'll use the mic one here. Mic's a little different. So I went to, let's go Insert. I can go to Shapes, and you could, choose, it could really be anything. Let's say I make a heart. There's a little heart. And I can go here. I can go again to Insert. I can go to Link. And then I could just pick a slide in the presentation. So I can, make this be, the Raven poem one. Apply. And now, take a look here. I'll just go here. I'll just click on it, and it'll take me to the one with the Raven. So, creating those links are important. Everybody's going to get this template here. I'll put it in the description. In the YouTube video, I'll put it in the description. Don't forget, right? The good thing here is, remember, you're, as the teacher here, you can, go back and forth. You can present this nice and big to the class. Okay. You can present from the beginning, and if it's in presentation view, like it is now, like I said, it's very visual. Okay, so even though it's in presentation view, you can just still click these little links, and look how I go to the question. You go back, and you can go here, and then you can go to the summary page, and then if you want to type in, you get out of it and you start typing. So that's my favorite one. I'm a slides person, so that's what I like. All right, let's look at let's go back. So now we're going to go back and we're going to look at we've done slides. Now let's take a look at Google Docs, okay? Because Google Docs is a little bit different. Google Docs are good for Google Docs are good if you want information to be very organized. Okay, I'll show you how it's going to be organized. Students all are working with a word processor, so you know it's easy for them to type and stuff, and there's going to be a lot of room for them to type because it's a word processor. There's also you know, the Explore tool available to them. The Explore tool is available in slides, but you can't do citations here, so we're going to do that in the next one in the Google Docs. And you'll see it's I think it's like it may be better than the slides version if you're like an English teacher or something like that. So let's take a look here. So here's how you can use Google Docs, and I actually have the tab up here. So as this is opening up, like I said, this is a great because we're going to use tables to keep all the information sort of contained. So each student's going to have their own little box, and that box is going to belong to them. And then they'll be, you know, students will be able to respond back and forth within that box to each other, and you get a nice little thread going. So here's what it looks like. It's called discussion tables at the top, and these as well are quick links here. Okay, so just like I had links before, I have links here. The only difference is these links are from a table of contents. Okay, this is a table of contents, and if you want to create a table of contents, I will show you how to do that right now. You have to change the headings on whatever you want to be in the table of contents. So you see here how this says heading 2, and I'm in discussion. And then if I go here, please read, look up here, just normal text. Okay, but this is a heading. So when I go to create table of contents, see how it says discussion resources? You know, it takes me right to discussion resources because it's heading 2. Okay, like I'll scroll down here again like this. Take a look here. It says discussion question. Look, it says heading 2 up here. However, this part on the inside is just, I just have it as normal text, so that won't so this, seeing as this is normal text, this won't appear in the table of contents. Only this thing, you know, discussion heading text 2. Even down, like I'm going to scroll down here. Look, student response section, heading 2. The name Janine, heading 3. The response thread, if you look, says normal text. So all these words, they won't be part of the table of contents. And if I scroll down here, I mean, you'll see I've got all the students' names. So that's how I create the table. I even have a rubric. It's a good idea to have a rubric. Whenever you're doing a discussion, you want to make it meaningful, right? You want to grade it. You want to make sure it counts. You want to make sure everybody's participating. So let's take a look here. I'm just going to change the size just to get more of a visual here. Maybe I'll change it to 75. So here's what it looks like. Okay, so each student has their own little, it has their name, and then they have a section where they can answer the question. Okay, and if you go up to the top here, I'll show you where it really gets back and forth. So here's a good example. So you can see the student right here. This is what she wrote. And then I have, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Let me go back to, let me go to 90. Then you have another student here, and that student writes their name. So the name Mark is down here. And what they did is they just created a bullet to respond to the previous students, you know, to the student's response to the discussion. So this person here says, I agree with everything you've said in the poem. And then, you know, this person can come back and respond, and then they could continue to go back and forth. And this little discussion can go further. I say something like, you should check out his other poems. And then the next person can continue using bullets. Now, if you want the bullets to go inside, like a little further to indent further and further, you just press tab. Okay? And if you want it to go back outward, you press shift and then tab to go back out like that, like that, like that, or tab. So all I'm using is tab and shift tab. So students can respond back and forth to each other. And it's all within their little box where they can respond back and forth. Now, you as a teacher can, I advise, so here I am as a teacher, and I'm just making my own little comments as to what's going on here. So I'm not really getting inside the box. I'm staying outside the box, but I'm highlighting something and making a thing here. And it says here you should check out other poems. So maybe I'm a teacher. I'll be like, well, and I'll just press this little comment here. So again, right, you want to underline whatever part you're commenting on, and then this little plus thing will open up. And then I'm going to say, for example, well, give me some examples of other poems. And then hit comment. And that's a way, that's a way for a teacher to sort of keep an eye on them and make comments, but without really getting into the box where these students can go back and forth. Now you have to teach them how to make a bullet. So if they don't know, they can go here, and if they want to make a bullet right here, right in the top, it just says bullet list. All they do is hit this little bullet list, and a bullet will pop out. And then they can respond to one another. Again, I encourage them to, write their name, whatever they wrote. Just have them tag their name in the back. Okay. Now I mentioned the Explore tool. So here's a response from Francis, and it says here, but there are many intricacies or whatever. So maybe another student wants to respond. So I'm going to press enter, and then I'm going to pretend to be a different student here. And again, this doc has to be shared with the entire class. Okay. Maybe I should have been a little clearer with that. And same thing with the Google Slides presentation. You want to share that with the entire classroom. So you would go into, for example, Google Classroom here. And if you want to share with the entire classroom, I'll just go into biology. And I'll create an assignment by classwork. I will go to create. We'll create an assignment. We'll call it docs discussion. And I can add that assignment from my drive. So I go to classwork, Google Classroom assignment, title it, and then I'm going to attach that document, right? So here it is, docs discussion. And the most important thing you want to do here is you want to grant students, can edit the file access. And you'll do the same thing here. I'm going to add another one here, let's say. We just talked about the Google Slides one where we were, we had the question with the political cartoon. So, if you do that one as well, you want to insert that, and both of them, you want to have students can edit so they can actually write within their own personalized slide. And, I get asked a lot, oh, what's going to happen if these students, what if they want to just delete everything? If you're worried about them deleting everything, remember, they're not going to get away with it. They're going to get caught, because you can go up here to File, and then you can go to Version History, see Version History, and it'll show you anybody that deleting anything, anybody that made mistakes or changes. So you can see my version history here. So if a student deleted something, you'll be able just to go to that version history like I did, and you'll see them for the changes they've made, And then even if they did delete everything, you can go back and restore it to that version. So maybe, on Tuesday, a knucklehead student deleted everything, but you can go back to Monday, click here on Monday, and then restore it back to normal, where you don't have the students, causing problems. So you can see a change here of contents was deleted. So, don't worry about them doing something like that. And then, like I said, you're going to share it. And even, I'm going to do a Google Sheets example. You want to share that as a, can edit as well. So then you would just hit, assign and take it from there. Now let me go back to this. Okay, so now let's say another student wants to respond here to what Francis said. And they say something like, I heard Poe was heavily medicated. And that's something that they would want to back up with some some information. They would want to cite that. So this right down here, this is something that's good for Google Docs. It's called the Explore tool. It's right down here. Okay, find it right in the bottom. So I'm going to click it, and then you could type in a web search. Let's say Edgar Allan Poe medication, or let's just say Edgar Allan Poe. Nothing came up. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, in my drive, I'm looking for the web. So I'm going to go to web. And here's a bunch of information on them. So maybe, the students check this out. The influence of alcohol and drugs on Edgar. And they read this here. You can click this. It'll open up. Okay, I'm going to click it just to show you. It's going to open up a brand new web page. And it's like a shortcut. Instead of having to open up a new page, it's the Explore tool. And, after they read this, and as you can see this, so web page is opening up. Maybe they read this here and they say, you know what, okay. Now they can cite that. So here's their little quote. I heard Edgar Allan Poe was heavily medicated. They can hit this little cite as footnote. And I'm going to scroll down now. And if you could see it here, it has a little 2 right there. I'll try to make it bigger so you can see. You see the little 2 is the footnote. So there's your footnote. And if you go down, there's the footnote. The influence of alcohol and drugs in Edgar Allan Poe's life. So that's an advantage too when they're working on the when they're using Google Docs. They have that Explore tool right there, and they can use it. They can get footnotes. They can actually look up images here. They can get right to their drive. I've also at the bottom here, I've attached a rubric. I think it's important to add a rubric just to it's good the students can reflect back on it. Now, I want to get back to, okay, so just a heads up too, here are some comments. When comments are resolved, okay, you can just, check it and mark it off. So maybe you made a comment to a student and then they did what they did and they can just check and mark it off. You can go back in with these comments and you can edit them. You can actually link this comment and share with a student or a parent. And don't forget here, you have the comment box as well. Again, right, this is the comment history, so everything up here will be saved. And if as a teacher you want to get notifications on that comment, like email settings, that you can just go here to notification. And do you want notifications on all comments or only yours or none of them? You should know that you'll get one email and it's called the dynamic email. So basically what that says is it's the same email, just keeps updating itself, so you don't get like a million emails, which is a good thing. So let me show you how to do these links here. So again, this is a table of contents, and I want you to see something here. This the name here says Nick J, right? So it automatically updates itself. So if I go down here and let's find Nick J, here it is. So let's say this student leaves the classroom. And then, you can give this box to somebody new. You can say it'll go to Tommy B. And now if you go up to your table of contents, and remember, I just want to go back again. This Tommy B, it's a heading, so that's why it'll show. This is normal text, so that won't show. So if you go back up to your table of contents, okay, you can see here it says Nick J, right? If I hit this little refresh button or update, check what happens. So you see how now it's Nick B is gone and it's Tommy B, because I updated the table of contents. So once you set your headings, and I've created a table of contents, you can do it your own. To do a table of contents and create those links that I have right there, you're just going to set headings to what you want to be in the table of contents, and then you're going to go to Insert. And right at the bottom you have table of contents, and you could click this one with blue links, and there you go. Look, I mean, there it is. I must have had my my clicker in the middle of it, but I'm going to go back a little bit. Just Control Z. So I can undo that. And let's put the table of contents. I want to show you the other one as well. So that's one way to do a table of contents. You can also do a table of contents numbered with pages. So this is a page example of table of contents. So you can see there's pages on each one. And it's still linked this way as well. So I use the one with the blue links, but you can do a page table of contents. And look, discussion question, it's linked. It'll take you right to it. So that's Google Docs for discussions. Next up, I think, is going to be Classroom. And using Google Classroom, there's two ways that I recommend using Google Classroom to facilitate online discussions. The first one you'll see that we do is going to be creating a separate class, and you're going to use the stream, and then the other way is going to be using the question feature. So using Google Classroom, one thing that's good is you can easily break an assignment into different groups. It's very easy to create groups. And yeah, you can use the question feature I'm saying right here, or you could create a separate class for discussions. So you could do one or the other. So let me go here to Google Classroom. And here I'm going to take us first to the class cards page. So let's say you have a biology class, and or let's just take a look at the demo class, right? So here's a demo class that I created. And on the stream page, I don't recommend, having online discussions there, because so many things pop up on the screen, the stream page. This is the stream, that it gets like crowded and disorganized, and you don't want to have discussions on the stream page. You want to save this for like important announcements and things like that. So instead of posting discussion questions here where it can get all confusing, you can go back, go to classes, and then just create a new class. So if I'm a biology teacher and I want to have discussions for biology, I'm just going to go here. I'm going to go to create new. I'm going to create a new class. I'll keep the same title, just biology, and then, or I'll just title it biology discussions. And I really don't need to fill in the details. I'm going to go to create, and this will be a separate classroom, where we could just have discussions, and you don't have to worry about it clogging up the stream, and you can really focus on that. So it's that easy. And if you're going to make this separate class for discussions, make sure you go here to this little settings icon. The little gear, the gear is always settings, and scroll down, and where it says stream, make sure you allow students to post and comment on each other, because sometimes some teachers have it that only the teacher can post and comment, and then students won't be able to respond to whatever's posted in the stream. So you want to have it, this gives the most access to students, but it allows them to bounce ideas off each other, to post comments back and forth. So that's one way. The second way you can do it is you can go to classwork, and then go to create, and then you can go to question. So now you can just post a discussion question right here, and you could do something like why are plants green, let's say. And if you look down here, this is very important here. It says students can reply to each other. Make sure you check this off where students can reply to each other, because it allows students to go back and forth, and one student says one thing, then the other student adds to it, etc. and so forth. And I would even check this off to allow them to edit their answers, because maybe a student will write something wrong, and then another student can jump in and say, hey, you should have said this, and then that student can go back and edit it, and they'll find out what's right, and then they'll change it to right, and they'll go through that process. I'm going to go to a different classroom real quick, and I'm going to pick the demo one. And like I said, what else is good with this here is that, like, let's say you are creating a question. The one problem with this question feature is I noticed that students really don't respond to each other, especially if it's the whole classroom. So again, let's say we're doing why are plants green, and I feel like this method doesn't really lead to a lot of in a big class setting. So what you can do here is you can sort of create little groups. So maybe you want to assign this question to Justin. You just click off just 2 kids and have them go back and forth. And you could create the groups beforehand. So you can select, you can create groups here by selecting students and maybe do one question for a group of 5, and you'll get a little more interaction between students. So that's something that might work as well. So I'm going to close out Google Classroom. Now, the last method that's coming up, so we're coming towards the end of our online discussion here. This is going to be using, and let me go down to show you. This is going to be using Google Sheets. The good thing about Google Sheets is you can add many different questions to the same sheet. You can copy and cut cells to organize thoughts and information, and you can have individual cells for students. So listen, every one of these, each one of these Google tools has its advantage, right? Slides is good because it's very visual, and it's very easy to add videos and images, so that's the advantage of slides. Google Docs is great because students can write a lot. There's a lot of room for them to write. They can get really detailed. They have their own boxes. They've got the Explore tool right there. That's some positive for Google Docs. Google Classroom is good because we're already on Classroom as it is. So if you create a separate class for discussions, okay, they can really go back and forth and say everything. You have this stream, and they're already usually on there. And now Google Sheets, I'm going to show you. This is the last one. Google Sheets has its own advantages. So let's take a look here. So here's a Google Sheet used to facilitate online discussion. And one of the first things that's really good about it is that you could have all your questions in the same place. So like here's one on the death penalty, and here's one, why do we have different seasons? So this is like a science one. So this one is a discussion of the death penalty. So what we could do here is, this is a template. So you can just go here, and I've already made a copy, but if I just go to duplicate, I just made another copy of it, and then, you can just quickly delete. And if you want to delete too, you can just highlight all of them and delete it all at once, and keep this as a template, right? If you have a whole bunch of students, go down here, delete. Just a heads up too about these cells. If you want to make them a little bit bigger or smaller, I can go down here and pull it down. Let me go to this example. Like this is a response here from this is a response from Anthony. So if I want to pull this thing down, you can see I have more room. And then if you want to pull this like this, you can have more room here. Remember, you could always change the text size. Okay, it's 14. You can make it 11 or something like that. Okay, these boxes. I just want to show you something else that's important here. So if you want to make sure these boxes are formatted so that the words don't go out and cover the other ones. So like if I click in this box and you go to format, take a look where it says text wrapping. I have it on wrap. If I put it on overflow, watch what happens. You see how it looks on overflow? So make sure, these boxes are on text wrapping. So I'm going to highlight all of them and go to format, text wrapping, and click wrapping, and now you're able to see them, right? Because look, if I go here one more time, if I go to format, I go to text wrapping, and if I go to overflow, you see how it goes all the way out? So you don't want that. So you're just going to go format, text wrapping, wrap it up. And like I said, down here, you can have all different questions. So you can have one Google Sheet and have all your discussion questions. Take a look here. Here's how I organize it. I've got student name, so their names are right here, and then each student gets a cell, their own cell that they could write their answers in. Okay, and so it's the student name. Here's the discussion question: should the government have the death penalty? Yes or no? And this is the student responses, and then you can have other students responding. So this is another student responding to this student, and this is another student responding. So you could have all the student responses here. What else is good here, because these are all cells, you can organize it into like, for example, you can organize it into like well, we're talking about the death penalty, right? So let's say this person says they agree with the death penalty. Well, you can go to Control C or Control X if you want to cut it, and then it's for the death penalty. I'm going to scroll down here, so I'm just copying or cutting, and then Control V, and now I have this as a yes response. And then maybe somebody here says no. This person says I'm completely against it. I'll go to Control C or Control X if you want to cut it, and you can easily, organize responses. So that's pretty cool too. Even if you want to go as far as you can even sort of color in these cells. Okay. If you look up here, it's like a little fill color. Maybe you want to make it like a light yellow or something like that. You can color them in to match them up. Or if you feel like, like this was a great response, maybe you want to do that green to highlight it. So this is just another avenue. All right, so that's pretty much it here. You guys will get the templates on all of these, and here's some work for you guys to do for now. Try one of the following and see how it is.